Welcome back to Troy, Alabama. We're getting ready for kickoff tonight. Georgia Southern and Troy right now, the coin toss. And you noticed just a moment ago, there's a little throwback tonight, Ben Stanfield, for the Troy uniform.
Yeah, pretty excited about these, Will Colmeyer, wearing the old Troy State logo. This is paying homage to when Troy made the jump to what we used to call Division I football back in 2001, 20 years ago. And in that first season, Colmeyer, they went to your home state, marched into Starkville, Mississippi, and it was a mud bath, and they beat the Mississippi State Bulldogs, got their first Power 5 win over an SEC program in the first season of playing big boy football, and that was quite a win and quite a surprise to a lot of folks, too, back then.
No doubt. Of course, you saw the weather, 82 degrees here at kickoff. Troy won the toss, and they want the football first.
Yeah, Trojan said, let's get it and let's go. Had some trouble moving the ball last week. Going to try and get something on the board to start things off tonight.
So Williams will kick it off, and away we go. The Eagles and Trojans on a Saturday night. Kickoff return across the 20 up to the 23-yard line.
There's some hard hitting there out of the gate as Troy's offense will come on the field and try to put a drive together of some substance here. They really struggled moving the ball last week against South Carolina.
And look what's happening here. Gunnar Watson getting the start tonight in place of Taylor Powell. Powell has been banged up. The transfer from Missouri who went 22 of 38 a week ago, 2 key interceptions. So Gunnar Watson, last year's starter, makes his first start of this year.
Well, and you saw the numbers there. It's a guy with experience, so Troy should be just fine with him at the helm tonight.
The give up to middle, that's Kimani Vidal. Michael Edwards, the third, with the first tackle of the night. He's the will linebacker out of Trussville, Alabama.
Vidal been dealing with some injuries. They didn't have him last week, and he's a welcome addition to this offense coming into this Saturday night contest with Georgia Southern.
Averaging 4 yards a pop. Here's Tez Johnson, and Johnson has the first down and then some. That's Anthony Wilson knocking him out of bounds, but a big play there for Troy.
And one of the key things they like to do is get guys outside right there. Tez Johnson able to make that turn and go up and get that first down. And you talk about a receiver that's really coming to his own this year. Tez Johnson has been a great playmaker for Troy's offense.
He had 6 catches for 49 yards a week ago, and he leads the team now with 31 catches on the season. Watson, by the way, on the year, now 6 for 6. He came in 5 for 5 for 69 yards. This time near side, it's Tez Johnson again. And a solid pickup on first down, knocked out of bounds by Tyler Bride. How about some impact players, Ben?
Yeah, let's talk about them. Of course, we, for Troy, are talking about Gunnar Watson tonight and his experience, and Tez Johnson, who you've seen already. On the defensive side for Georgia Southern, it all starts up front. Nose tackle, C.J. Wright. He's got 3 sacks, 5 tackles for a loss. A force multiplier, I call him Will Colmeyer. His success, of course, leads to team success. Then you got defensive end Justin Ellis, 2 sacks and 3 tackles for a loss on the year.
Yeah, those are really 2 outstanding defensive linemen for Georgia Southern. Here's Vidal, the right side, and Vidal is very close to a first down. He was hit by Edwards, and it all depends on the mark, whether or not he has a first down.
It's been the Kamani and Tez show so far tonight.
You mentioned
Troy offense.
And it is going to be a first down for Troy. And as you mentioned, Vidal did not play last week, the freshman out of Marietta, Georgia. Last year, the first true freshman in Troy history to rush for 100-yard games in consecutive weeks.
They're going to feed it to him tonight, too. This is an establishing drive. Going to try and run the ball as often as they can.
Watson, complete this time to the right side. That was Vidal making the catch and Seth Robertson making the stop.
Boy, that play just developed really weird there, too. It was almost in slow motion, the way that kind of broke down.
Here's Watson again across the middle, the deep ball, and it's caught. The catch by Deshaun Stottlemyre, and Bride makes the tackle, but there is a big-time play for the Trojans.
So, and Gunnar Watson with that completion ties Jeremy Rowell on the quarterback list for 10th all-time on that passing list, and Jeremy Rowell's on the staff at Georgia Southern tonight. We'll talk about him in a moment.
Absolutely. Neat storyline there. Vidal up the middle inside the 15 down to the 14-yard line. A pickup of 2 for Vidal, and that's Josue. We'll be talking about him a bunch tonight out of Lawrenceville, Georgia, although he was actually born in Haiti.
Troy going to try to punch this ball in here on this opening drive, and it would be a welcome shot into the arm of an offense that they just struggled last week, is the only way I can put it.
The fake end around to Johnson. Watson now under pressure to the end zone and is incomplete.
Yeah, his guys were all covered up, and he made the smart move there. He was able to bail out of the pocket, roll out to the sideline, just throw that ball out of bounds, and live to see another down here.
Yeah, Chip Lindsey was telling us the other day that it's just simply the offense has to play better. Too many self-inflicted miscues. Got to get some more explosive plays. Well, that pass to Stottlemyre sure was one there. And he wants the offense to catch up to the defense.
And certainly so. If you had told me that at the beginning of this year that the best asset on Troy's team would be the defense, I would have thought, I'm not so sure about that. But they have led the way for this squad this season so far.
And Georgia Southern calls the timeout. 11:30 left in the first quarter. Troy is threatening at the 13-yard line. The Trojans will continue the drive right after this. Third down and 8 for Troy out of the timeout. Watson, the completion to Reggie Todd to the 10-yard line. He's going to be shy of a first down. That tackle by Najee Thompson, who had a big interception in the end zone a week ago in that win against Arkansas State. Todd with his 17th reception of the season.
I'm surprised they didn't go for more of an end zone shot on that play, but they were trying. I understand what they were trying to accomplish on that route was to give him what we saw with Tez Johnson earlier, an opportunity to turn the jets on around the outside. It just didn't work out for him.
28-yard field goal attempt for Brooks Buse. He's only kicked one field goal this year. He made it against ULM, and now he's 2 for 2. And Ben, it's the Trojans off to an early lead, 3-0. And interesting enough, Buse, I talked about that one field goal that he made earlier this year against ULM. That was his first field goal in 1,751 days. You got to go back to his high school days. The last time Brooks Buse he split the uprights for a field goal, and now he's 2 for 2 this year.
Is that he's probably thankful for practice, I'm sure. Yeah, that's about like the old sand wedge on the golf course. If you don't use it, you kind of tend to lose it, but not for Buse tonight.
Yeah. As for the series history, Troy leads it. The Trojans have won 13 of the 20 so far, including 6-3 here in Troy. Over in Statesboro, the Trojans are 7-4.
When back in these 1AA days, these guys used to battle. I mean, deep in the playoffs too. In the 90s and 80s, and Troy and Georgia Southern have a deep, rich history with each other. And let me tell you, Will, what I like about the Sun Belt and the makeup of the league right now is they've kind of brought a lot of these old school rivalries back into the fray just at the top level of college football.
And Buse with a touchback. Najee Thompson wanted no part of that one, so Buse now 13 touchbacks in 21 kickoffs this year.
You got all these teams that were powers at the lower levels of football. Georgia Southern, one of them. I mean, this is just a really tradition-rich program. If you ever get a chance to go over to Statesboro and check out a game, I would highly advise doing it. That's a cool college town. You know, and then teams like App State in the league. You've got Troy, who was also a powerhouse team and has been a powerhouse league in the Sun Belt at times as well. And so that's been a lot of fun to watch these teams get back together.
You see Justin Tomlin leading that Eagles offense onto the field. Tomlin, 1 for 8 yards last week. They really didn't need to throw. They really don't throw. It's a team that averages 400 yards of total offense, the majority on the ground, and that is Tomlin right on cue. He's rushed for well over 100 yards this year, a couple touchdowns, including a 76-yarder. How about some impact players right now, Ben?
Yeah, I mean, we talk about Tomlin. He doesn't throw the ball a lot, but he touches the ball every play, and he's got to know where to put it, too. And that's a big thing with this offense, all these moving parts. Running back number 25, Jalen White, he's one of a committee. He's another in the arsenal. He had 13 carries for 157 yards last week and 2 touchdowns.
This time it's Tomlin again across the 30 up to the 31-yard line. And that's John Hines with his first tackle of the night. He's got 14 now in the year.
And we mentioned, of course, on the Troy defensive side, Javon Solomon, the bandit linebacker for them. And then up front, defensive tackle Will Cholo. He's got 3.5 sacks. He's a big disruptor and a guy that they're going to lean on a lot tonight. It starts with Cholo. If he can hit these guys in the mouth up front and free up some lanes for these linebackers, Troy's defense can really be problematic for this offense. But it's confusion, malfunction junction sometimes for defenses trying to see where the ball is.
It's going to be a rare passing attempt for Tomlin. It's complete near side. That catch is by Logan Wright, the fine running back, but he's going to be shy of a first down. That was Jaden McDonald, his 20th tackle of the season.
And didn't get the first down. It looks like they may stay on the field and go for it here.
Wright, the redshirt senior out of Jacksonville, Florida. You talked about it in the open. 214 yards last week on just 10 carries, a couple touchdowns. He's also now second on the team in receptions with 8.
They are going to pull him and punt. I'm sorry.
So it will be Anthony Beck, the redshirt junior out of Guyton, Georgia, a Ray Guy candidate, and he sends one deep. Tez Johnson will ask for the fair catch. He will receive it at the 20-yard line, and that's where the Trojans will start next time when Gunnar Watson and company come out on the field. It's 3-0. We got 3 weeks in a row.
On my birthday.
Welcome back to Troy, Alabama. Pretty good crowd on hand on a Saturday night. Saturday night in the South in the fall. That means college football.
And it feels nice outside, too,
Yes.
tonight. Real impressed with the weather. You know, I think it rained like 39,000 hours in a row down here this week. So obviously probably had some impact on practice. But it's dried out nicely into Friday and Saturday.
On first down, Gunnar Watson, another pass completion. It's the Tez Johnson again. That's his third catch already. And Watson is 6 for 7 through the air.
And they're keeping it simple for Watson to start things out. I imagine it will pick up in difficulty as we go, but that route to Tez Johnson, about the third time we've seen that tonight.
Pass to the near side, incomplete. This time looking for Reggie Todd. Todd had one catch in that first drive.
Yeah, and we haven't called his name yet tonight. It's been, like we said, the Tez Johnson show early in this contest.
Looks like Todd was dinged up a little bit as well, the guy that started out his college career at Mississippi State. So now Watson faces a third down, 3 yards to go. He's got Vidal now shifting to his right. Again near side. Another completion as Tez Johnson again. That's 4 catches now for Tez Johnson. A first down for Troy.
And I love that play call there because Troy went what we call 11 personnel. One back flanked off the quarterback and then a tight end. And here they go again. They're going to go fast on us.
Again, it's Watson. This time across the middle and again to Johnson. Boy, what a monster first quarter he is having. That's Dedman, Reed Dedman out of Carrollton, Georgia, making the tackle.
On that third down and 3, though, Troy had a tight end to the right. They shifted Vidal to the right, and it looked, all accounts, that they were going to go to the right. And the Georgia Southern defense kind of bit to their left step there, and that opened up that lane for a short first down pass to keep this drive alive. I thought that was an interesting note where they really indicated like they were going to run the football in that lineup, and then went to the air.
Again, a short pass near side. Another first down for Troy. That's Stottlemyre with his second catch. Justin Birdsong makes the stop, but not before Troy crosses the midfield stripe.
A really well drawn up screen pass there, and by the time the Georgia Southern defenders, they didn't necessarily get beat on it, but when they realized it was happening, it was too late.
This time the give to Jamontez Woods out of Gadsden, Alabama. That tackle by C.J. Wright, you talked about him in the open, making his 14th tackle of the year. 5 of his first 13 were for losses.
Yeah, and that's, like we said, that's the key up front for Georgia Southern. These guys have got to make a little bit of noise, get in this backfield. And just a moment ago, when they came in on the screen pass, they thought, oh, this is too easy. And then that's your indicator that it is a screen. And Troy had some success with that. But they've played a good game so far.
And Todd with the reception. Takes it inside the 35 down to the 33-yard line. Anthony Wilson with the tackle, but another Trojans first down.
And you can tell that Troy respects Georgia Southern's ability to clog up the arteries in the middle because they keep going outside.
Watson, looks like the ball squirted out of his hand. It's a fumble. Who's got it? Georgia Southern says it has it.
Yeah, we'll want to watch that one again. That was, you could go incomplete pass there. Looks like Troy came up with the football, but
covered by the offense.
So it was recovered by Troy. So a fumble by Watson, and that recovery, it looked like, was by Grant Betts.
He just let go of the ball right before he threw that throwing motion, and that was a fumble, and really. Wow, avoiding a landmine there for Troy early.
And they picked up 3 yards on the play. How about that? Watson, another dump pass, this time to the right side, and Woods.
I think that's coming back upstairs. I don't think anything happened here.
Before the snap, the previous play of a fumble is on the
they're going to take another look at it. So worst case scenario, Troy is called for an incomplete pass here on this review. But they still managed to fall on the football, which I thought was an interesting development as well, because it looked like Georgia Southern had it, but the Trojans came out with the ball. So watch him here. Watson drops back, and he just, like, what happened there, man? The ball just came out. Now I know why that would happen to me. I don't have big hands. I don't have big football hands, But for a quarterback, that's, boy, you think, geez, man, that's an interesting development.
So they confirm that previous play. It was a fumble, and it was recovered. So give Troy 3 yards on that pickup. As you can see, the call was confirmed. One of the few things that Watson has done wrong here tonight. So far, 10 of 12 through the air, 99 yards. And he has spread it around right now. 4 different receivers have made catches. Of course, Johnson, the go-to guy so far, with 5 catches.
Yeah, he's had a great start. Not flashy by any stretch, but just methodical. A little bit of a drive manufacturing type style of play so far tonight. Credit to Georgia Southern's defense, though. These guys have been really good inside the 20 tonight.
Watson under center this time. Play action, pressured, and going down. There's a sack by Justin Ellis, the redshirt senior out of Roswell, Georgia. His 3rd sack of the year, his 17th tackle overall. He now has 4 tackles for losses.
Boy, and he just came in there like a freight train, too, and was able to get a hold of Watson and take him to the turf. Nice sack there by Justin Ellis, and really, really a great play for this Georgia Southern defense. So Troy, 3rd and long now, has not had a play so far that has given you an indication that would gain 13 yards. So we'll see what they come up with here in this situation.
3rd down and 12. Reggie Todd has had a lot of success on 3rd down receptions. This time, though, Watson goes to Woods, the running back. Incomplete. It's going to be 4th down, and now decision time at the 35-yard line. What will Chip Lindsey do? It would be about a 52-yard field goal. Looks like Chip Lindsey wants to keep his offense out on the field. 4th and 12 for Gunnar Watson.
Sure, why not? If you don't have the legs for it, I don't know that it's so difficult to pin a punt down inside the 5-yard line, especially from this vantage point. So why not go for it?
Johnson's in motion. Watson under pressure. The deep ball. He's got a man wide open. And that was Johnson, but it's incomplete. That pressure forced Watson to get rid of it before he wanted to. Johnson was wide open. It would have been for 7, but instead it is Quinn Williams doing a nice job for Georgia Southern.
And Watson on that play got absolutely blasted in the backfield. Watch him here. That defense for Georgia Southern came barreling through there. That was number 15 for Georgia Southern that jumped in there that's Quinn Williams that just laid a big hit on Watson, one that he's going to feel when he wakes up on Sunday morning as he gets going for the rest of the weekend.
Yeah, he had some tough hits last year. In fact, missed some time for the Trojans at quarterback. So here's Tomlin now, and Georgia Southern on offense. The turnover on downs, and Tomlin, a little run right from the get-go. Faked like he was going to go back to pass, but that was run all the way. KJ Robertson with his first tackle of the evening, the junior from Alabaster, Alabama.
And that's what they want to do, 7 yards there on that first play, and they'll do that to you all night long. And a lot of times these defenses get in this rhythm where you come up for air, and by the time you realize that you've been on the field for 9 plays and Georgia Southern's bled 8 minutes off the clock, and that's what they can do to you.
Georgia Southern with 5 running backs, but so far it's been all Tomlin running the ball, and again it's Tomlin on the carry. This time Troy, though, makes the stop, and there's a fumble, and Wright recovers it all the way back at the 31-yard line. I think they're going to say he's down, though.
I probably would have given Tomlin forward progress there before the ball came out.
Antonio Showers with the play defensively for Troy.
Watch him get clogged up in traffic here, and then probably blow the play dead right there, and that's when that ball popped out.
So 3rd down and 3 to go for Georgia Southern. They've changed quarterbacks now. It's Cam Ransom, the 6'3", 215-pound freshman from Lakeland, Florida. He was 2 for 5 last week through the air, 29 yards, but he can run. This time he's under pressure. He will try to scramble, but he cannot get back to the line of scrimmage, so a sack for T.J. Harris. He had one last week, and he's got one here tonight.
Yeah, and they were able to put that pressure through the middle of Georgia Southern's offensive line. We told you before the game, this is the matchup we're watching right here. Troy's defensive front against that offensive line for Georgia Southern. And I think where Georgia Southern is going to be successful tonight is on these misdirection type plays. They have not done that the past couple of plays on this drive, and it's really cost them.
Tez Johnson awaiting this punt by Anthony Beck. Number 1 career when it comes to punting average at Georgia Southern, 42-plus yards, and you just saw why. He unloaded on that one, folks.
Man, that was a big dog punt there, wasn't it? Yeah.
The Trojans will take over inside their 10 when we come back. Troy with the football, leading by... We're hanging out in the home of the Trojans, the Troy Trojans, and right now the hosts lead it 3-0. Will Colmar alongside Ben Stanfield. The rest of our crew, we're absolutely delighted to have you on board with us. A Saturday night here in Southeast Alabama. And Gunnar Watson took that big shot in that last drive. He comes back out at quarterback. Little option and a terrific run on first down, a first down carry. Nice job there by Woods. He was solid last week. He had 9 carries for 49 yards and a touchdown. Jackson with his first tackle of the night. He's got 19 now on the year for Georgia Southern.
I like that play call there, too. Pitch out and gets you really out of a troublesome situation inside your own 10. A little breathing room there, too. This is going to be a big drive for Troy. They haven't parsed the ball this far in quite some time.
Right up the gut, across the 25, up to the 27-yard line. That's Jackson again. Kadri Jackson, 2 straight tackles. Woods with a couple carries.
This team really experienced some offensive woes last week at South Carolina, the week prior at Louisiana Monroe, and just has not had success moving the ball in really pivotal situations. And I would say this is one right now. You're trying to add to the lead early in the game.
Watson has time, near side. Reggie Todd makes the catch. Oh, what a pass and terrific catch by Todd at the 43-yard line. A explosive play by that Troy offense.
Looked to me like with live eyeballs that Todd had 2 feet down there. Let's check it out again. Over his shoulder where no one but Reggie Todd could get to that football. That's what Gunnar Watson can do for you. And really all quarterbacks on this Troy team have that unique talent of throwing really beautiful passes to the receivers.
Yeah, Watson last year, 7th nationally. He completed 70% of his passes. There's a flag. Looked like a little movement by Troy.
And that's a talent that gets overlooked a lot of times, too.
Offense, 64. 5-yard penalty. Remain first down.
Troy called for the false start there. But the ability to give that ball just enough room where your guy's the only one that can go and get it. That's really, really, really unique there.
That was Trennis Livingston, our referee tonight. You know, penalties were a problem a couple weeks ago. 9 for Troy in that loss to ULM, but much better last week. In fact, Chip Lindsey was talking to us about that. Just 1 on offense, just 1 on defense last week against South Carolina.
Yeah, Troy didn't really do anything to kill themselves in that game. They just couldn't move the football. It was strange.
Woods breaks free. Can anybody catch him? Yes, they can, but a big play by Woods all the way down to the 15-yard line. That was Jackson again making the tackle, but another big play by Troy.
Troy just tearing it up on the ground so far. 158, on the ground.
Watson hit hard into the end zone. Touchdown. That's Barber with the catch. His second as a Troy Trojan. Watson got tattooed, but he'll get credit for a touchdown pass.
And just a nice wide open receiver there. Some busted coverage, and Troy able to get a touchdown on the board. They're off to a great start in this game. For Georgia Southern, you got to kind of regroup. Stay calm. It's only a 10-point difference right now. And try to get some more pressure on Watson because they've been successful tonight when they've been able to do that.
Jabri Barber with the catch.
And Jabri had a touchdown on the road swing.
Buse's extra point is true. It's 10-0 Troy.
He's got another touchdown tonight in front of the home fans as well. Jabri out of Dothan, Alabama. Former Dothan High School Wolf.
91-yard drive. Very impressive on just 5 plays. It took 1 minute and 56 seconds. Are you kidding me? You were just talking about Troy needing a big, impressive drive, and it doesn't get much better than that, 91 yards.
And they got to have that because Chip Lindsey told us this week, he said, boy, this is really a point of emphasis for me. He said, we're just not playing that great on offense. Chip Lindsey's an offensive guy, and one of the play callers for the team, the play caller. And so he takes it personal when the offense isn't moving the ball. But for whatever reason, they just couldn't get it done last week against South Carolina. That was a very winnable football game. Folks will look at that years from now and go, oh, yeah, played a close one at South Carolina. No, they should have won the game, honestly, in that SEC stadium on the road and had a lot of opportunities. And then we're just flat on the road against Louisiana Monroe, too. And so tonight, that's a big shot in the arm for this team and for Troy trying to push and stay in this conference championship talk here, too.
Buse with the kickoff. Najee Thompson on the return. And Thompson on the far side, breaking a few tackles up to the 37-yard line. T.J. Harris makes the tackle on special teams. Great field position for Georgia Southern. Less than 30 seconds left here in the first quarter.
And Georgia Southern's still in the mix, too. They obviously made the coaching change 2 weeks ago now and really blew it out against Arkansas State. Very nice game there. But against Louisiana the week prior, that was a tight ball game and a game that they felt like maybe they could have won, but just didn't get out of it alive. 28-20, Louisiana considered one of the best teams in the conference. Of course, you got Coastal Carolina, who's just dismantling folks right now, playing good football over there. But it's still, it's early in the year. A lot can happen.
This time, Tomlin back in, and a nice pass complete near side. A first down and then some.
You could just straight up tell on that play that Troy did not think they were going to do that because he was wide open in a gap all by himself and nothing but grass in front of him there as defenders had to scramble. They go, oh, man, they did throw the ball deep.
That was Amari Jones, the senior from Frisco, Texas, on the reception. He's now with 6 catches on the season. He's one of the many running backs.
And that's one of the things. You play in chess, not checkers. These teams always try to switch it up for each other.
And that will do it here in the first quarter. It's been a quarter dominated by Troy. Georgia Southern will have it when we come back. Welcome back to the Vet here in Troy. We start quarter number 2. Will Kohlmeyer, Ben Stanfield, the rest of our ESPN crew. Glad you're spending your Saturday night with us. First down and 10 for Georgia Southern. And Tomlin looking for the deep ball. He's got a man. It's caught. Nice job on that reception by Caleb Hood and the tackle by O'Shea Fletcher, but not before the Eagles take it inside the 10 to the 8.
And I like this strategy by Georgia Southern, catching this Troy defense on their heels. Recognize that the defense has been playing pretty good for the Trojans this season. Switching things up tonight, going to the air a little bit.
That's Hood's first catch of the night, his 20th of the season. That leads the team. And it's first and goal at the 8. That's Logan Wright. His first carry, I believe, of the evening, down to the 3-yard line. The stop by Reddy Stewart, who has really caught the eye. We asked Chip Lindsey the other day who's really stepped up and maybe exceeded expectations on defense. He mentioned Reddy Stewart, Zion Williams, and Luis Medina.
Yeah, and so Reddy Stewart in the preseason even was a guy that they mentioned. We said, who are some guys that are catching your eye at camp? And he said, well, you know, Reddy Stewart's had a nice camp for us this year. We're anxious to see what he can do on the football field. Reddy Stewart has delivered.
He sure has. Here is Tomlin. The give to Wright and a tackle for a loss. Big play by the Trojans. And that was K.J. Robertson, his 3rd tackle for a loss this season.
Yeah, K.J.'s a playmaker, and that's one of the things that Troy wanted to do tonight was clog up the middle. You see Georgia Southern not having that success running the football against Troy so far. But one of the things, too, I think, if you look back to, you know, everybody pivots and goes back to Georgia Southern's football game last weekend where they ran up 503 yards on the ground. I don't necessarily believe that was the game plan going in to run the ball that much. I think it just came that easily to them in the contest. I like them going to the air tonight quite a bit, honestly.
Yeah, a little change of pace. Just 14 yards rushing so far for Georgia Southern. Overall, 69 in the game.
First start, offense, 51.
That was a detrimental penalty there. You hate to see that stall this drive out.
So that one was against Aaron Dowdell, 6th year at Georgia Southern out of Fairburn, Georgia. And as you mentioned, kind of changes the complexion now. 3rd and goal from just outside the 10.
That's a guy that shouldn't make that mistake, too. Captain on the team, 6th year. He knows that, too.
And Wright, no room to run. Another terrific stop by that defensive front for the Trojans. And it's going to be 4th down and goal. I don't think Wright even gained a yard. Might have lost a half a yard.
There's some extra going on there, too. Javon Solomon for Troy. A little bit of chirping, some pushing after the play. I think for this is just my thoughts here on Georgia Southern's offense. They have been most successful when they've had 2 and 3 guys in the backfield running heavy personnel and some misdirection. But just handing the ball off, Troy's defense is too smart for that.
Here's Alex Rayner, 2 for 3 this year in field goals, his long of 32. This one from 27 is good, and the Eagles from Georgia Southern are on the board. A nice drive to start here the second quarter. It's a 1-score game here in Troy. So Georgia Southern on the scoreboard after a 6-play, 51-yard drive that lasted almost 3.5 minutes. Trojans will get the football back, leading 10-3. And back deep will be Stottlemyre along with Woods for Troy. And kicking off will be Williams again. And another touchback.
Troy's already got 200 yards in this game so far, 206. 144 of that through the air, 62 on the ground. And 11 first downs. 1 for 3 on third down tonight. They did go for it on a fourth down as well. They were 0 for 1 on that attempt.
This year, Troy as a team, 45% on third down. That's impressive. Averaging right at 24 points a game, 337 yards of total offense. 92.5 rushing, and then 245 through the air. And Watson off to a nice start. He's already thrown for 144.
75% completion percentage tonight so far for the quarterback.
Watson playing in place of the injured Taylor Powell, and sack. That was by Dylan Springer, the redshirt senior out of Baton Rouge, his second sack of the year.
And, you know, ironically enough, Georgia Southern had not had a defensive turnover all year until last week. Springer was the guy. He had an interception, and then they wound up getting a couple of turnovers in that game last night. Big win, and he's had a nice night tonight as well. Anytime you get a wide-open sack like that, boy, it makes you feel good.
Quick pass near side. Watson, the completion to Barber, who just had a TD reception in the first quarter tonight. The only touchdown of the evening. Solid pickup there. Sets up 3rd and short.
And for whatever reason, some teams have found a bit of a gap there on that left-hand side of Troy's offensive line, because that's where that sack came from on the last play, and that's where some gaps have been tonight that have exposed Watson in this ball game. And so you hate to see that. That's something they may want to look at shoring up at halftime even tonight.
I beg your pardon. I said 3rd and short. It's 3rd and 12, and Watson again pressure. The pass incomplete. Nice pressure again by the Eagles. Looked like that was Robinson along with Quinn Williams. Quinn Williams had a blitz earlier that really hit Watson hard. They're doing a nice job defensively.
Nothing flashy. They're just jamming up that offensive line, pushing things back, being disruptors. That's one of my favorite words, of course, on a defensive front. Just get in there and make some noise, man, and just kind of flip the tables over a little bit. That's what they did, and it really got in Troy's head on that play.
Here's Luke Magliozzi, the junior from Australia, with the punt. It's fair caught. And Georgia Southern will have the football at its own 33-yard line. When we come back, it's 10. The Wave making an appearance tonight at the Vet.
See how far it goes. Keep it going. Student section did a nice job.
Yeah, it still has a pulse.
Slow it down a little bit there.
1st and 10 for the Eagles. It's Tomlin, option right. The pitch bobbled a bit. And nice job by Troy's defense again. That time the pitch.
That's where your pursuit drill comes in at practice. It looked exactly like what you see at practice sometimes.
That was Hood, the leading receiver, now with 10 rushes on the year. So they, if you're on offense, you got a chance of running the football if you're a skilled player for Georgia Southern.
Pretty much everybody. It's by committee, yeah.
No gain. Tomlin barely got the handoff. He was gobbled up in the backfield. The handoff going nowhere. That was Green, Gerald Green. Last week he had a touchdown, a 23-yarder.
And you see Troy there on the replay. They came with all kinds of pressure on that play. They're able to put Georgia Southern in yet another difficult third down situation.
Yeah, they don't like being in 3rd and 11, so 2 rushes for a combined -1. And Tomlin up top, far side, complete, maybe 2 yards at the most. Terrific play by that Troy defense. That was Kennerson on the reception. That's a solid drive by the Trojans defensively.
Yeah, the home team defense really feeling it right now. Has come into their own in this ball game, and really, I mean, if you look at the yardage here, Georgia Southern sitting at 68 total yards on the night. And what do? Will Kohlmeyer, they run the football by resume. They got 13 yards on the ground right now.
Harris made that trip, made the play on that last play, and that punt, another beauty by Beck, fair caught by the Trojans, and Gunnar Watson. And that Trojan offense will come back onto the field at the 22. Welcome back to the Vet, where Troy is 21-10 at home since 2016, trying to go 22-10 with a win tonight. Right now, the Trojans lead it in front of the hometowners by the score of 10-3. And Watson starts this drive at the 22-yard line. The give on first down, and that's going to be a tackle for a loss for Georgia Southern. Boy, nice job. That was Springer again making the play.
A nice job by Georgia Southern's defense to kind of set the tone on this drive. Early on, Troy, I think, would ideally like to bleed a little clock here, but points are more important, obviously.
Watson, the play action, has time, deep ball toward Whittemore. It's incomplete. Luke Whittemore, the intended receiver, 4th on the team with 15 catches. Nice coverage there by number 20, Seth Robertson.
If we can catch another look on that play, the left side of the line that we talked about here that has been somewhat of a weakness for Troy. I mean, they really kind of gang rushed on that left side there. Georgia Southern on the weaker side tried to come through and put some pressure on Watson, and the block was picked up right there at the last second. So you're noticing some improvement up front for the guys wearing black jerseys tonight on that offensive line.
And that's good news if you're the quarterback, Gunnar Watson, starting in place of Taylor Powell, who is out with an injury. Here's a pass to Vidal, and Vidal breaks the tackle. Boy, he is so good yards after the catch. You know, he was second nationally among all freshmen last year, 3.8 yards after contact, and he did it again there. The tackle by Robinson, but not before Vidal does what he does best.
Yeah, I actually don't really love the spot there. I think they didn't quite give him as much credit as he might have earned, but just a little bit shy there of the first down. But you're right, that kid is a playmaker, and his ability just to run. You know, I mean, he's a speedster, and he can turn on a dime, and he's just real fantastic to watch.
Here we go, and nearly a punt block. Luke Magliozzi on that rugby-style punt, and boy, look at that roll by Troy. It takes a Trojan bounce and then some, all the way down to the 22-yard line.
With some theatrics there on the return team, Caleb Hood for Georgia Southern too.
Let's take a look at that last punt, and wow.
Yeah, I made the remark before we went out to break that maybe a little theatrics there, but I'm not so sure about that. We got another look at that during the break. That was a pretty hard push.
Yeah, I can see why the Eagles were upset with that.
Probably could have been 15 yards very easily.
Against Zion Williams. Here's Tomlin on first down, and he was trying to go up top to one of his receivers. I beg your pardon, that's one of the running backs, Amari Jones, incomplete. Second down. Tomlin now with that is his first incompletion of the night. He's 4 for 5 now for 57 yards.
So we'll say that Troy caught a break there.
I think so.
With that, what should have been a 15-yarder. interim head coach Kevin Whitley, he worked the officials the entire television timeout. I don't think he talked to the team at all.
Oh, tattooed. The run there by Jalen White, who had 157 yards on 13 carries, a couple touchdowns last week. That was Shaquille Brown, the defensive tackle, big fella.
Georgia Southern's got to figure something out here. The one thing that we have noticed that's worked is a little bit of misdirection when there's multiple guys in the backfield, showing some heavy personnel situations that they're able to move the ball. But they've had success throwing the ball tonight too.
Tomlin will go up top here. He's being pressured and he's going down. The sack. That looked like it was Jaden McDonald. Yes, it was. McDonald with another sack tonight for that Trojan defense.
How about McDonald, man? Just wide open, comes through, and is so fast on the blitz there that there's really nothing you could do to stop him. The Georgia native puts the quarterback in the turf and really puts Georgia Southern in a tight spot here. Going to be punting from the shadows of his own end zone.
Johnson is awaiting the punt. Anthony Beck has put a couple in orbit already here tonight. This one is high, and Johnson will fair catch it. Boy, that wasn't the easiest assignment for Tez Johnson, but he was able to corral it without fumbling it. And great field position for Troy at the 43-yard line, leading right now 10-3. What's been your biggest takeaway, Ben, here in the first half?
Well, it's been the left side of that offensive line for Troy. For whatever reasons, Georgia Southern sees a weakness there. And they really, just pile drive right through that gap there. It looks like probably the B gap and the C gap. They've had some opportunities there on the line and have really gotten in that backfield. So if Troy, and you see Troy's got a little bit more personnel on that side of the ball now too, on the left side. So probably trying to stack some blocks there.
Watson the give on first down to Woods. Across the 45 to the 46-yard line, a pickup of 3. That's Justin Birdsong, the senior, making the tackle. He's the leading tackler on this Georgia Southern squad now with a team-leading 28th tackle of the season.
And that's exactly what they did. They brought all the guys from the left-hand side were in on the block scheme there on that play.
Pickup of 3. Woods now already over 50 yards rushing on the night. Give him 54 on 5 carries. Watson has time across the middle, complete, and a first down to the 43-yard line. That was the tight end, DeAndre Lewis, with his 7th catch of the season. Tackled by Eldrick Robinson. There's a good play. Another terrific play by the Trojans. They're moving the football nicely. That's Woods again. And the tackle by Bride.
And at tight end, Lewis, as you mentioned, he was the guy that they brought in to help on that left side of the offensive line too.
That's 14 targets this year to tight ends, 13 catches for Troy on offense. How about that?
Pretty impressive numbers there.
Luke Meadows, he loves the tight end, doesn't he?
Kind of makes you want to throw to him a little more.
Yeah.
Tight ends is an afterthought a lot of times on teams. They're like, hey, why don't we throw the tight end more?
Usually a good matchup. And there's Woods breaking free into the secondary, trying to hit the pylon, and he does. A touchdown. Jamontrez Woods scores for the 4th time this season. That was electrifying.
Woods had a gap right there, and he turned on the speed. Nothing but jets through that offensive and defensive front there, and he was off to the races. And I love the way he dives out for the pylon there for the touchdown to seal it off.
He knew where that path was to the pylon, and look at Woods again. Jamontez Woods making it look easy. Oh, that's athletic, folks.
My goodness. What a jump.
Buse in for the extra point off the hold of Magliozzi. And right down the pipe for Buse. He's now 16 of 18 in extra points this year. So Woods with a 34-yard touchdown run. Caps off a 4-play, 57-yard drive that lasted 1 minute and 38 seconds.
And you see that gap he had there. I mean, he turned on the jets like we mentioned, but then his ability to turn on a dime also and cut out to the right. Watch him here. I mean, just really nice work. And he was off to the races after that. And it lunges out from, the 5-yard line, sticks that ball on the pylon, touchdown. Really a beautiful run.
He's got 96 yards on just 7 carries tonight. And remember, with Vidal out last week, it was B.J. Smith that stepped up, 103 yards. He joined the 2,000-yard club at Troy with that 103-yard rushing total against South Carolina, but we have not seen B.J. Smith here tonight.
Yeah, so far, Vidal and then Woods. They kind of do it by committee on this Troy backfield, very similar to the way Georgia Southern does. It's really whoever the hot hand is. And tonight, Mr. Woods, this is your show, sir.
No doubt about that. Boy, Chip Lindsey, wasn't he? When he was talking about B.J. Smith, that long touchdown run last week, obviously he was excited that his Trojans had scored, but he was smiling for B.J. Smith. All that he's been through and was able to score brought a big smile to the head coach. And even he said it even made him want to tear up a bit.
Yeah, it was, and that's speaks to a lot about the relationship that these guys have with their coaches, because you spend so much time with these guys. And they become your family, really, during football season, and especially you're around each other for hours and hours and hours a day. So when you're not jiving as a team, it can really make for long days. But when you are, it's just spending time with each other, having a good time.
270 yards of total offense so far for Troy, just 65 for Georgia Southern, and only 8 yards, folks, on the ground after 500-plus last week in that impressive win against Arkansas State.
That's really the stat of the night right there.
The give on first down to Logan Wright. He's had very little room to run here tonight. Darryl Starling making the stop, the backup spear for Troy.
When Troy just said, hey, look, you're not going to run the ball up the middle. And that's been the difference maker so far. So Georgia Southern only about 495 yards shy of what they turned last week.
Isn't that amazing?
They had some big-time runs, like you just saw out of Woods for Troy on the touchdown. Georgia Southern had a bunch of runs like that last weekend. They haven't had that tonight.
They try right, and another tackle for a loss. That's the All-American Carlton Marshall with his 6.5 now tackles for losses this year. That's third best on the team.
Yeah, just a great athletic play. And so Georgia Southern back down to 7 yards on the ground for the night.
Brandon Hall, the defensive coordinator you talked about in the open. Marshall, a better human being than a football player, and that is really saying something. You see him getting off the bunch, and you think he's a student coach. That's what Brandon Hall was telling us, and all of a sudden he just goes out and makes plays. One of the top tacklers in the country.
And he's going to be a great talent in the NFL, too.
Third down, 12. Tomlin, near side, in and out of the hands. It looked like that was Amari Jones, the intended receiver. Yes, it was. He's one of those running backs, the senior out of Frisco, Texas. And it's going to be 4th and 12 and another punting situation for Georgia Southern, although there is a flag.
Looks like it's on Georgia Southern back there in the backfield, maybe a hold. You want to try to avoid disaster here.
Hands to the face, number 9, defense. 15 yards from the previous spot, automatic, first down.
So it's hands to the face called against Troy. And was that Richard Gibonor there that was called on, Will?
I think it was.
Yeah, the bandit linebacker. So let's watch it again.
Number 9 down there in the right side of your screen.
After the pass attempt, reached up there and grabbed a little bit of face mask on the quarterback.
Tomlin far side, and it's picked off. It was deflected and then intercepted. That was Gibonor with the interception.
There you go, young man. That's how you make up for a 15-yard penalty. You run out there and get yourself an interception. And the ball was tipped, Will, and his athleticism to dive in there and get it. He saw it. It may not be an interception. It looked like it bounced off the turf. If Troy can hurry up and get a playoff here.
That was Craig Slocum, I believe, that deflected it. And Jubinor out of Nigeria, the redshirt sophomore, with his second interception of the season.
What a great play.
He had that big sack, strip, and fumble recovery last week against South Carolina. And he comes up with a big play here with under 3 minutes left here in the first half. Troy with excellent field position starting this drive at its own 47. Gunnar Watson tonight, 15 of 21 through the air, 172, make it 16 of 22. And that is Vidal down to the 45-yard line. And so Vidal gets a first down for the Trojans. Stopped again by Robinson, Eldrick Robinson, the freshman from Pensacola, Florida.
So Georgia Southern sitting at 6 rushing yards on the night. Vidal just pushed Troy over 100. And that's not the way we kind of pictured this one turning out. But Troy sitting at 270 right now. They've had some good offensive productivity tonight.
Vidal just got tripped up. Tripped up by Justin Ellis right there. Otherwise, Vidal had some room.
So clock's rolling, 2:17, and this is, we've called a lot of Chip Lindsey games now where I think he's his best as a play caller. You put him in that 2-minute window and say, all right, you got to score. They don't always score, but they're always in position to score, which I think is important. Can get down inside the 10-yard line and really have the opportunity.
Watson was trying to go with the deep ball, and he got unloaded on. My goodness, did he get hit by Anthony Wilson, the redshirt senior. He's the strong safety, and he's the second leading tackler on the team, and that's his first sack of the year.
Wide open gap there, and they brought the safety on the blitz, and he just lays out a form tackle there, kids. If you're playing youth football this season, that's the one to look at because that was about as good as it gets right there.
And that's a loss of 9. Now 2nd and 19 for that Trojan offense. There you see the numbers for Gunnar Watson on the evening through the air. Playing in place of the starting quarterback Taylor Powell, who's out with an injury. The give to Vidal back into Georgia Southern territory. Wilson, who just had the sack, picks up the tackle there.
And on that sack a moment ago, there's just things in life that are real satisfying to you, like cold sweet tea on a really hot day, or that first bite of a fillet steak, and that's just one of those just wide open for the taste there. You can tell he enjoyed that sack a moment ago.
Boy, I tell you what, I got the old taste buds going. You're talking about that fillet.
Maybe some surf and turf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
$1:09 left here in the first half. Trojans lead it 17-3. We talked to Luke Meadows, the offensive coordinator at Troy. He simply said, you got to eliminate the turnovers. Issues haven't been physical this year for his offense, but those 4 turnovers last week, wow, that was just a couple of those miscues you take away. You leave South Carolina with an upset win over an SEC team.
Yeah, and it was in this situation right here, driving right before the half, and Taylor Powell kind of forced one, threw a pick 6, but it didn't. The routes, we understand, didn't evolve correctly, and so the quarterbacks always receive a ton of praise. They always receive a ton of blame. In that case, got a little bit of blame, and pick 6 to the house for South Carolina, and it was an ugly end to the half for them.
There's Watson to Vidal, and he breaks a tackle down to the 36-yard line, eventually tackled by Justin Birdsong. He's had an active first half.
I like that little shovel pass there, too. There's kind of a push-off with the ball and let your playmaker do his thing. So 4th down here.
4th and 4. Trojans going for it. Watson across the middle, and it's incomplete. He was looking for Tez Johnson. Good coverage there by the Eagles. It looked like that was Tyrell Davis, the freshman from Harrisburg, North Carolina, on the coverage.
Yeah, Tyrell just made a great play there. Had him on lockdown coverage.
Looked like somebody got a paw on it on the line to deflect it. And so 42 ticks left in the first half for Georgia Southern. Let's see what the Eagles will do.
Air it out. Send that thing downfield. Tomlin's had the hot hand throwing the ball tonight. They've played 2 quarterbacks, and Yeah, he's 4 of 6, 57 yards. I'd try to take a deep shot here if possible.
This is a team that averages 109 yards through the air. And this one's incomplete. Actually, they've got Cam Ransom back out there. We saw Ransom in the first quarter. He's a 55% passer on the year, 24 for 44 coming in. No INTs, a touchdown, and 233 yards through the air. That's his first passing attempt tonight.
So, and you see the passing yards breakdown there. I mean, Georgia Southern total yards, 63. So 57 through the air, 6 on the ground.
What a difference a week makes. So second down and 10 at the 36 for Georgia Southern, and Ransom far side and nearly intercepted. Boy, I'll tell you what, I think that was Slocum right there. Yeah, Craig Slocum. Remember, he deflected that pass that Jubinar intercepted on the last drive, and he almost got one himself there.
Yeah, he was going for it, man, and he was so close to that interception. The coaches in the box next door to us, they really wanted that one.
Yep, we got the Troy coaches to our right. We got our Troy athletic director, Brent Jones, and his crew in the suite to our left. Of course, Brent used to work at Georgia Southern.
Yeah, there's a lot of crossover between these two schools.
3rd and 10. Ransom is going to tuck it and take off. He's got the first down to the 47-yard line. That'll stop the clock with 23 ticks left.
Boy, he made a nice move to keep that run alive. Kind of held that ball out there, the old loaf of bread adage, as he was moving through traffic, but he managed to hang on to it and make a nice run there.
6'3", 215. He's a big quarterback. And there's a pass that's complete near the first down. That's J.J. McAfee with his first catch of the night, his 5th of the season. He's a junior out of Charleston, South Carolina.
They got one timeout left. Not anymore.
And they just burned it.
There it is, right there. I was going to ask the question, when will they use a timeout? And it appears it's right here. So, realistically speaking, maybe a stick route, try to get something quick in field goal range and kick. That was that move, though, and then he gets stood up at the end of the run there. But that was a great run by him to set up that first down.
And then the pass here to McAfee.
So if you can catch that on the sideline, maybe.
In case you're interested and wondering, Alex Rayner, the kicker, a long of 32 this year. So
gonna need a big pass.
Yes.
We may have to airmail this one.
Yes. Now, he was kicking it further than that, obviously, in warm-ups before the game tonight. 2nd down and 1 at the 44. Ransom at quarterback. Under pressure. And we'll get the incomplete pass. That's a big play there by Ransom because that would have ended the half. Great pressure by the Trojans. Solomon was there. Griffin was there as well. Boy, Solomon, only player in FBS this year with 6 sacks and 10 tackles for losses. He has really blossomed this year. In fact, Chip Lindsey was talking to us about Solomon.
Yeah, a guy he pointed out that has really blossomed this season. I think Troy actually wanted a false start before that play was snapped. That the whole defensive front kind of lifted up a hand and pointed there like something went down, and that was a great stop. So now you just send everybody through the end zone.
Last play of the first half, and yes, the airmail into the end zone, incomplete. A couple Eagles were in the area and about 4 or 5 Trojans, and Slocum will get credited with maybe a pass breakup there, and that ends the first half. Troy, very impressive here offensively and defensively. They've got 286 yards of total offense, and they've held Georgia Southern to only 63. And more importantly, the numbers on the scoreboard read 17-3 Trojans. We're going to step aside. We got a lot for you coming up on our halftime report. Trojans leading it by 2 touchdowns. We're just moments away from the start of the second half. Of course, Georgia Southern under the leadership of interim coach Kevin Whitley, the former standout at Georgia Southern. In fact, he was part of a couple national championship teams, won AA back in the day, and of course went on to have a little bit of a career in pro football, including a year with the New England Patriots. Boy, he was quite a football player back in the day.
Yeah, he was, and he's got to be pumped to be the head man at his school now, and getting the chance to lead the team. Of course, a little bit of turmoil got him here, but he was already on the staff and was promoted into that position, and may very well be a candidate himself for the permanent position. But that's pretty cool to see a guy who played for his team get the chance to be the head coach there now as well. That means a lot to him and his family. So that's a hat tip tonight to head coach Kevin Whitley. And you're talking about he was there for some really good football teams, 88 to 91. Troy had some good teams in too, and I believe they met late in the playoffs during that run as well.
Yeah, he was telling us he was blessed to have this opportunity. He said a lot of his former teammates have reached out. On the kickoff here in the second half, knocked out of bounds. He was telling us that some of the former teammates he hasn't talked to in years reached out to him, though, once he got the interim tag, and he just talked about trying to get better every week.
Well, and so, for Georgia Southern, there's no reason to step around it. It's been a tough year for them, and some unfortunate things happen, and then, of course, made a coaching change after that fact, and it's kind of a circle the wagons moment in Statesboro. Hey, let's get the family back to the table, talk a few things out here, and get this program back on the right track, because they haven't really achieved that level of success they're used to since the move up and into the Sun Belt Conference. And so I think they're on the right path. It takes time. It really does. And the league is not kind, as we just pointed out at halftime. But circle the wagons type moment for Georgia Southern right now.
First play here in the second half, that's J.D. King with his first carry of the night, and Elgin Griffin, the backup nose tackle out of Valdosta, Georgia, with a tackle for a loss, his third tackle for a loss this year.
Hey, let's not get fancy here, says Georgia Southern. In my opinion, try and bleed the clock as much as you can in the second half and make this a game of as few possessions as possible. And I hope that you can put a drive together that you didn't achieve in the first half.
There's King, picked up 2, flag on the play. King, last week, 11 carries, 85 yards, and a touchdown.
That flag came in deep in the backfield, and it is going to be a hold against Georgia Southern.
Replay, second down.
Zion Williams made that stop for the Trojans, and that'll make things even more difficult for Justin Tomlin, the quarterback, and that Georgia Southern offense. Oh, yeah.
A great job defensively by Troy there, too. Defensive front. And for a couple of years now, defense hasn't gotten enough credit for Troy. This year, they are the MVPs of the team.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. And there's a tremendous play in the backfield. How about
Cholo?
Will Cholo. Another tackle for a loss. He now has 8 on the year.
Let me correct that. No, that was not Cholo. I'm sorry.
That was Palmer. The sophomore from Lawrenceville, Georgia. He's 6, Cholo's 5, and we're a long way away from the stadium.
A jumbled up jersey there. It kind of looks the same. That one's on me. Sorry about that, Mr. Palmer.
So 3rd and forever. Wow. 3rd and 28. And a little option for Tomlin, and he got wrapped up in a hurry. Nice job by Dale Pettis, the sophomore from Harvest, Alabama, his 14th tackle of the season. He's also got a block kick this year, and he made a really nice play there.
Well, and here's the thing. They read that option like a book that time. The scouting reports are absolutely hitting the mark for Troy tonight defensively.
Well, Chip Lindsey was telling us, scouting Georgia Southern's triple option. Tough to duplicate in practice. The scout team obviously a key to the prep. He was stressing that the team has to focus on assignment football. More gap scheme than normal. Defense will be tested, but so far so good for the Trojans defensively. And another tremendous punt by Anthony Beck. Nothing but fair catches tonight for Tez Johnson. Boy, Beck is quite a weapon. You can see why he's a Ray Guy candidate. Trojans with the football when we come back. 12:34 left in the third. Troy with the football, but how about defensively? The Trojans have held 9 of the last 11 opponents to 21 points or fewer, and right now they've only given up a 3 spot. 17-3 Trojans.
Who do those opponents include? How about Liberty? Malik Willis. How about Coastal Carolina? They're in that mix as well last season.
Here's Tez Johnson trying to navigate his way. He ran a long way to pick up 3, maybe 4. That stopped by Justin Ellis.
So Troy's defense, we're going to give them the credit they deserve tonight, Will Colmeyer,
right.
The rest of the way.
Well, Chip Lindsey wanted the offense to try to catch up to the defense. Defense has played really well tonight, but the offense obviously doing better as well. Gunnar Watson under center this time. The give. And Vidal breaks free. Vidal still on his feet. He's finally tackled at the 28-yard line. That guy will never go down. Seth Robertson finally corralled him, but a huge run by Vidal.
He's so fast that if you don't get him on first contact, he really can roll off of that. And you see, I mean, even after some good contact, he still gained 5 yards on that play.
Vidal in that first game this year had 6.5 yards on average after contact against Southern University. Edwards makes the tackle there, pickup of 2.
That's my favorite stat, by the way, yards after contact.
Yes. And then, I mean, Kimani Vidal, he just thrives with that. We talked about he was second nationally among all freshmen a year ago, almost 4 yards an average after contact. 2nd and 8. Vidal now in motion. Watson, the slant caught, and breaking free and scoring is Reggie Todd. He bounced off like a pinball there with that DB, and Todd is in the end zone for the first time this year.
I was coming with that same analogy myself there, the pinball machine. You could hear it, dung, 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 dung. And he managed to bounce out of those tacklers and off to the races, and by the time they realized that he was free, he was gone. Touchdown.
Watson with his second TD toss of the evening. Buse in for the extra point. And Buse makes it 24-3 Trojans. Watson to Todd, 26 yards. And the Trojans are cruising, folks. Welcome back to the Vet here in Troy alongside Ben Stanfield. I'm Will Colmeyer enjoying our perch above the Vet. And I'll tell you what, Troy, very impressive. Their last 3 scoring drives, Ben, have all been under 2 minutes.
Critical of the offensive performance ahead of this game, and that's what they have tuned up in this week of practice and tonight in this ball game. It's all come to fruition, and they have really moved the ball very, very, very well in this game.
Yeah, that last drive, 62 yards, 4 plays, 139. And so Georgia Southern, this is not what the Eagles thrive on. They do not soar when it comes to down by 3 scores with this option setup.
Yeah, and with just 10 rushing yards tonight. Who saw that coming?
I did not.
And so the just inability to move the football for Georgia Southern tonight, a lot of the credit for that goes for Troy's defensive front, who said have been very disruptive. They've brought a lot of blitz and contain and have been able to keep that in check, so to speak. But honestly, though, Georgia Southern, like we mentioned, runs a lot of this triple option type stuff. We haven't seen a bunch of that tonight. It's been kind of a basic playbook from them.
Tomlin in at quarterback. The fake to right. Far side, caught. Breaking a tackle and spinning free. That is Burgess. And finally tackled by KJ Robertson, but Derwin Burgess Jr. out of Riverdale, Georgia. That's exactly what Georgia Southern needed.
So what happened there? It faked the handoff. You got like a kind of a run-pass option there, RPO type deal, but there was some misdirection involved. And that's what they have to be successful. And you get a big play out of that, and really a receiver who's able to bust a big run there, almost a touchdown. But that's what they've got to have. They can't just run a basic play because their offense is not suited to be successful doing that right now.
Yeah, Robertson with a touchdown saving tackle there. There's right up the middle for 3, tackled by Carlton Marshall, leading tackler on the team. 357 now career tackles. That's 5th all time in school history for Carlton Marshall.
That's big time too. But that's what will help Georgia Southern move the football effectively. An RPO type look, an option type look, a fake handoff.
Tomlin thought about running. Now he's going to try to throw it. Far side. It's caught on that far sideline. That catch by number 9, that's McAfee, J.J. McAfee with his 2nd catch of the night, his 6th of the season.
Troy coming with that nickel package there. They just had a bunch of guys back and said, dare you to throw the ball.
Yeah. And Tomlin he looked like he was going to run a couple times. Didn't look like he was going to throw a couple times. There's a good look at McAfee. Big play coming up here for Georgia Southern. 3rd down and 4. The Eagles need to get some points. They've got to counterpunch that last touchdown by Troy.
Yeah, you're in field goal range, but you got to have 6 here.
Tomlin under pressure. Pass complete. That's McAfee inside the 5. He's got the 1st down. It's 1st and goal for Georgia Southern.
Oh, Carlton Marshall coming over there with the touchdown saving tackle. Watch this. Manages to level him right there before he could get in the end zone. It is good enough for a 1st down, but I think this defense is really proud of where things are right now, and they'd like to keep it that way. Or at worst case, get out of here with a field goal.
1st and goal for Georgia Southern at the 5-yard line. Tomlin, the give up the middle, near the goal line. That is Gerald Green. Last week, he had a touchdown. He leads the team with 5 touchdowns, and he almost had number 6 there. Green will leave. 2nd and goal at the 1.
I wouldn't get fancy here. Heavy personnel, try and push it right over the middle. They've been able to effectively gain a yard or 2 up the middle, but not much more than that. But I believe that may be the route here.
It's Logan Wright up the middle. He has found the end zone. And Georgia Southern gets a much-needed touchdown, and it's back to within a 2-score game.
Yeah, ball game's not over yet. Get your popcorn. We got a lot more time left in this game. Just under 8 minutes to go here in the 3rd quarter. Georgia Southern has plenty of time to settle in here in this 2nd half and get back in this thing, especially with that touchdown right now. That was, oh, man, you talk about fresh water right there for that Georgia Southern sideline.
5th touchdown rushing on the year for Logan Wright. That ties Green for the team lead. Georgia Southern going for 2. Tomlin will roll right. Under pressure, he'll find an avenue to the end zone. And a 2-point conversion by Justin Tomlin, and it's now 24-11.
Interesting choice there to go for 2. I don't quite understand it, but they got it, so that's all that matters at this point.
10:55 left. I should say 7:57 left here in the 3rd, and the Georgia Southern fans have something to cheer about. They've cut it to 13. The Eagles from Georgia Southern feeling better about themselves right now. They've cut it to 13. That scoring drive, 75 yards on 6 plays, 2 minutes and 58 seconds. So Wright gets the touchdown, Tomlin the 2-point conversion. And Britton Williams Another touchback tonight, kicking off for Georgia Southern. Will Colmar alongside Ben Stanfield. All right, what's next, partner? Now Troy's turn to counterpunch that score.
Yeah, you want to try to run some clock here, obviously, but up 13, can't get comfortable because Georgia Southern has proven, hey, we're not going to go quietly in this game.
No. Too proud of a program. And when you think of Georgia Southern, I just think of Irk Russell. Don't you remember those teams?
Yeah.
And boy, and those are some dandy matchups you mentioned earlier against Troy. That's where that rivalry really began.
Those legendary Larry Blakeney teams.
Oh.
Of course, Coach Whitley a part of it. Jeremy Rowell, who we mentioned, is on this staff with Georgia Southern, the defensive staff. He was a quarterback here at Troy, 94-95.
Vidal spinning and fumbling, and Georgia Southern has it. And the Eagles have a whole bunch of life right now. That fumble recovery.
It's a fumble recovered by the defense.
So
looks like that was Quinn Williams.
That's where we mentioned, hey, don't get comfortable yet. Still got to get aggressive. You just coughed that ball up, man.
Turnovers were a problem last week at South Carolina, preventing the Trojans from upsetting a Power 5 team on the road. And that's the first one tonight, and that's a biggie. And now Georgia Southern. Wow, great field position at the 34-yard line of Troy.
Hot hands here. I would go to the air again very quickly if I were Georgia Southern. Try and push that ball down the field again.
Worked great on that last drive.
Up to 18 yards rushing now. We do have a rushing touchdown in that mix.
Tomlin with 124 upstairs, and he was hit behind the line. What a play by T.J. Harris. Another tackle for a loss.
When we talked about this a moment ago, Troy scouted this rushing game for Georgia Southern out very, very nicely this week. When they delivered that up to coordinator Brandon Hall and said, here you go, sir, they managed to put the right coverage in to keep their running game contained, because that was just well drawn up defense right there. Had some open lanes downfield, but if you can't throw the ball.
Tomlin will throw here, and it's caught. And then drop, but there is a flag. Wow, there was a lot of contact down there. Did he make that catch? He dropped it.
I thought he caught the ball.
At first I thought he caught it.
We'll take a look at it again, but this is probably, there may be a targeting call in the mix here.
Well, there was definitely some hits.
I didn't see any interference because he caught the ball ahead of the contact.
Personal foul. Targeting.
Yep.
Defense. It'll be 15 yards from the end of the play.
That is T.J. Harris.
First and 10.
Called on the targeting there. So taking a look.
We have an official review brought to you by the Vance Law Firm.
Oh, yeah. And he made that catch. Wow, what a catch by Caleb Hood. You can see why he's the leading receiver on the team.
Now, it sounded to me like the official said 8, which would be T.J. Harris, who was right there in the mix. But that's actually Reddy Stewart that
is 18.
I mean, Stewart came in hard. He's headed to the sidelines after this review. And then half of next week, too.
And for Troy, that is next week at Texas State. Broadcast on ESPN+. You see it once again. Yeah, Harris, they whistled it and they announced 8, but you're right, that was not T.J. Harris that will get whistled for this one.
Targeted on the play.
Okay, so they gave him a little credit for pulling back there. I'm actually surprised by that. Logic seems to go out the window sometimes on targeting calls, right? And so, like, for instance, we saw a kid at Auburn today get disqualified for targeting, one of their more important players on the defensive side of the ball. The way he was able to pull, you could tell he was pumping the brakes, I guess, so to speak. kind of like analog brakes on, some of these older cars you see. I mean, you see the brake pad just working there, but it's still not stopping the forward motion. So that's interesting. You got a little credit there. He stays in the game.
There's the pitch, and there's a touchdown. That is Caleb Hood, who just made that terrific catch. He scores from 23 yards out, and we've got a one-score game now here in Troy.
That's what Georgia Southern needed to do right there. So bring this option back into the fray here. A little bit of misdirection and keep Troy on their toes, and that was just a well-done play right there. Get it outside as quick as you can because the defense has been swallowing this up.
And going for two again. Well, nope. Now they were testing Troy special teams, and Troy was playing it just perfectly. So now the extra point attempt by Alex Rayner, the redshirt sophomore out of Kennesaw, Georgia. Off the hold of the punter, Anthony Beck. And all of a sudden, it's 24-18. That 23-yard touchdown run by Hood caps off a brief three-play, 35-yard drive, 1 minute, 1 second, and they got some points off of that turnover.
If you're on the home sideline, this has become survival mode now. I mean, it felt really comfortable up 24-3. Georgia Southern, in really short order, has scored 2 touchdowns and converted a 2-point conversion. I still don't understand their selection there going for 2 on that first touchdown a moment ago, but whatever.
Yes, we might know later in this second half.
If they score again and kick an extra point, they're up by 1. So maybe that was the logic, they like their odds there. But you talk about a little bit of confidence, momentum shifting to the road team tonight.
Britton Williams, another kickoff. This one will squirt into the end zone. And so now it's up to Troy's offense. See if the Trojans can get that running game going again. Luke Meadows was telling us the key to the running game, you've got to get to that second level. Then make a safety miss like B.J. Smith did last week, like Woods did tonight.
Yeah.
Backs have ran hard. Passing game needs all 11 to do their job. Remember, he was telling us the line needs to give the quarterback time. The quarterback needs to have his eyes focused on the right deal.
Yep.
And then the receivers need to make and take and run the right routes. So execution is the key. Let's see how Troy will execute on this drive. And Watson, a little play action, pressured, and an incomplete pass.
Yeah, nothing there for him on that play. Yeah, talking about getting to that second level, and what he means there is, really between the linebackers and then the safeties, there's just usually a gap right there. And then, like Woods did earlier, you mentioned that. I mean, he came with some stir-fry, man, and quick cut to the right, and he was gone for a touchdown. And usually you try to count your explosive plays, and those make a big difference in a ball game, just 1 or 2 of them.
Here's the pass complete to Woods. And Woods gets 9. Tackle by Robinson again. 3rd down, 2 yards to go. Troy working quickly. Watson, the quick pass, bobbled and nearly picked off. That's an incomplete pass. They're saying it's a fumble, but that thing was never corralled by Todd, I think, or was that Johnson on that far side?
Let's watch it one more time here.
Yeah, that was Johnson. Boy, that was close. Almost, it was bouncing around. You talked about popcorn earlier.
Yeah.
Like the old-fashioned.
Well, I mean, everyone in America mentioned Lane Kiffin and popcorn this week.
Yeah.
I saw the interview last week too, and popcorn's become a heavy topic of conversation at football games now.
It's always been a big topic for me in the Colmeyer household. Love me some popcorn.
I actually dove in for a bag after that last week.
All right, Magliozzi in punt formation. And that's Hood, I believe, deep for Georgia Southern. Boy, Magliozzi sends one up into the hemisphere. And a fair catch by Hood, and so Georgia Southern will have it at its own 17-yard line. This third quarter has flipped upside down, folks. Troy was cruising. It was 24-3.
Yeah, you kind of thought maybe punching the time clock here a little early tonight, but that's not going to be the case. 24-18, there is some anxiety in this stadium right now,
yes.
And that's probably the best way to describe it. Anxiety for the road team, really in a good way. Like, hey, man, we've marched back in this thing. New swagger in Statesboro, Georgia, and some anxiety for the home team tonight thinking, geez, we do not want to blow this game.
Tomlin, play action. Far side's got a man open. It's another reception. That's Burgess breaking. Almost broke another tackle. That was Marshall making the tackle. But Derwin Burgess Jr. came in with just 2 catches on the year. And he's had 2 big catches here tonight.
I'm enjoying the Georgia Southern air raid here in the second half.
Yeah. And you talk to Brandon Hall, he's like, it's crazy, isn't it? You play an air raid one week and then you got triple option the next. Well, this triple option's turned into a little air raid. Although here's Tomlin. Oh, what a nice play.
Wow.
Big time play by Culp. Elijah Culp. He had 7 tackles last week in that game at South Carolina. That's a biggie right there.
Yeah, able to reach out and just do enough. Just do enough to interrupt the run there.
His 18th tackle of the season.
Saved some big yardage.
Yeah, Tomlin had some room. He certainly did. So 2nd down and 8 at the 38. Tomlin, quarterback draw all the way. Oh, he's elusive. And he's got himself another first down, I believe. It just depends on the mark. That's Jubinar. Richard Jubinar with the tackle. He's a transfer from Delta State.
Another great drive here for Georgia Southern. What they've got Troy doing, and what I mean when I've said misdirection a couple times tonight, they've got the defense thinking about it. You're not going to get anything up the middle against this home team defense tonight. That's just not what they serve up in Troy. They make you push it outside. And if you can do that, there's some success to be had. But you're not coming up the middle on them.
Solomon back in the game for Troy. They run away from him. That is Gerald Green on the carry. Dale Pettis with the tackle. So give Green 3. Under 4 minutes left here in the third quarter. Coach Whitley was telling us last week that explosion offensively. He said everything just came together. They got some turnovers that they needed on defense, and that's one of the keys here in the third quarter. They got a big turnover. And there's Tomlin going deep to Amari Jones.
And that's the reason they're in the position they're in right now, is because of that Troy turnover. And then Georgia Southern has just been on a march.
Nixon on that coverage. He had 5 tackles last week against the Gamecocks. Some good coverage there. Now it's 3rd down.
Crowd getting into it a little bit now. Some noise here on a Saturday night.
3rd down, 7 for Tomlin and the Eagles. A little power formation. They fake the run and the pass to the far side. It's caught by Amari Jones, and another first down for the Eagles. That tackle by Ransaw, Caleb Ransaw, one of the backups for the Trojans.
And they're just comfortable now. Georgia Southern looks more comfortable than they have all night. That's been a big deal for them in the second half.
Tomlin showing some skills through the air. He's going to go up top again. The deep ball, and it was overthrown. Coverage there by Dale Pettis. In fact, Pettis was actually the player that was closest to the football. Tomlin throwing into double coverage.
Yeah, he would have loved to have had that interception there, but
Tomlin's thrown for 172. He came in tonight with 248 on the year, just a 42% thrower. But tonight he's 71%, 10 of 14. The redshirt junior out of Decatur, Georgia. The handoff. That is Jalen White. Had that monster game last week. Kyle Nixon makes the stop. It'll be 3rd and long. At White's only 2nd carry of the night. He had 13 carries for 157 a week ago and 2 touchdowns.
Huge 3rd down here for Troy. If you're trying to preserve that lead. Now for Georgia Southern, you still got a little bit of time here and nothing to worry about. The clock's ticking down at 2:16 in the 3rd quarter. If you don't convert here, no big deal.
No. All the time in the world left in this one. A whistle.
False start. Offense 77. 5 yards from the previous spot. Remain 3rd down.
So that one was against Griffin Carter.
Caught him right there on the jersey. And so now what, 3rd and 13? Just the 5th penalty of the game too. That's become a rarity in this ball game as well.
Tomlin, pressure, sacked. Solomon was there. Boy, Solomon has really come on, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's a guy that coaches mentioned the other day when we talked with them too about, you know, he's been a great asset defensively. You talk about a huge sack. What did we lose? 10 yards on that sack there for Georgia Southern, and really just took them out of contention there. We said if they had scored points on that drive, that was going to be a big blow for Troy's chances tonight because the momentum was so good for Georgia Southern. But not a big deal right now. You're down 6, plenty of time.
Tez Johnson with the fair catch. And Solomon, we talked about it, only player in FBS that has more than 6 sacks and 10 tackles for a loss, and he's added to those totals there.
Yeah, adding bullet points to the resume tonight. Georgia Southern up to 41 rushing yards now.
All right, let's see what Gunnar Watson and that Troy offense can do. It was clicking. It's been a little quiet the last 10 minutes or so after a very impressive drive early on in the 3rd quarter. And Vidal gets the handoff, spins across the 15 up to the 16-yard line, might have picked up a yard. Under a minute left here in the 3rd quarter.
Troy went heavy personnel on the left-hand side there, and it was kind of a student body left type run.
Luke Meadows was telling us that the offense will face an odd defense this week, something the Steelers started using about 10 years ago. He gave us a little football theory 101 in our Zoom meeting a couple days. We'll talk about that in just a bit. Odd and even. That pass is complete, this time to A.J. Lewis, but Lewis could not break free, a minimal pickup.
Watson's pass complete to number 84, A.J.
And I appreciate Coach Meadows when he talks with us. He does tend to give us some education on the game, some specifics. He says, hey, you may not be looking at this, but check this out. And, of course, it helps us to sound a little better on game day, although you ask some folks on Twitter and maybe they won't agree. But
We've got 3 quarters in the books, folks. We've got the final 15 minutes straight ahead. It's Troy leading by a score as we head to the 4th quarter here. Sounds good. Welcome back to Troy. While you were watching the commercials, we were watching a little sumo wrestling.
check out Blue there. He recovered nicely, came back and got the win in the sumo wrestling contest. We're going to have to break away from this, but he did come out on top.
So congrats to Team Blue.
Yeah.
Let's see who will win on the field. Oh, almost an interception. That pass by Watson was deflected.
There's some folks in East Georgia tonight hoping that Team Blue can come
Yes.
out on top in this game right here, too.
Good segue, partner. And it's 4th down. So that offense.
A nice defensive play there just now, too.
Really was. So here we go. Magliozzi punting tonight. Once again. Back deep is Hood. He had that electrifying run earlier in this. Now that we're in the 4th, I can't say earlier in the quarter. Last quarter. This one by Magliozzi will be fair caught by Hood at the 44-yard line. Once again, outstanding field position for Georgia Southern. So Tomlin and that Eagles offense will have it at the 43 when we come back. 14:47 left in the ball game. 24-18. Troy hanging on to the 6-point lead. And let's see what that defense can do. Carlton Martial right now, number 2 ranking nationally among active players. 8.8 tackles a game in his career. Let's see what Marshall and that Trojan defense can do here. Green busts one. Still on his feet down to the 33-yard line. An impressive run on 1st down by Green. Finally tackled by Jubinor. But that is a big-time pickup.
Georgia Southern going to go fast here, too. They like the matchup they've got on field right now.
Tomlin swings one to Green. He's got another 1st down for the Eagles. And Georgia Southern is rolling.
Mr. Green looks like Mr. Clean right now. He is fast. Turn up the speed, young man. He's trying to get in the end zone.
KJ Robertson, he had 9 tackles last week against South Carolina. He gets one there. Green breaking free. He's kind of looks like a little Vidal out there with some yards after contact.
Yeah, and when he turns the ball, when he runs north and south, man, he full speed.
Robertson with another tackle.
I'd love to see his 40 time.
TJ Harris leads the way for Troy with 8 tackles. Marshall has 6. Robertson and Nixon with 5 each. And there's a big-time play by Jubinor. Richard Jubinor, and oh, the Trojans need that.
Yeah, Jubinor blasted it in the backfield there. Just kind of a one-handed deal. It was you could feel the frustration from Georgia Southern's quarterback there. Tomlin just couldn't get out of the way.
2 terrific bandits. Solomon and Jubinor for Troy. Now 3rd and long. Tomlin in the shotgun with Burgess in motion. Tomlin under pressure by Robertson. Flips one to the far side, incomplete. He was looking for the tight end, Bo Johnson, and Craig Slocum on the coverage.
So if you kick here, it's about a 41-yarder on the field goal.
Alex Rayner coming out.
41.5, how about that?
Rayner off the hold of Beck. He's 2 for 3 this year. His long is 32. This would be a season long of 42. He's got it. And it's a 3-point game. Rayner from long distance. Kickoff coming up. Trojans now. That lead that was 24-3 earlier in the half has been cut to 3 with 12:53 left. Green was the workhorse, big run, and then he makes the catch. And then that sets up Rayner from 42. 6 plays, 31 yards. And we've got ourselves a ball game, Ben Stanfield, 24-21.
Yeah, I was asking the question earlier. Why go for 2 there? It's really risky when Georgia Southern scored their first touchdown of the night.
I told you, I said we might find out the reason later in the half, and sure enough.
Well, there's a reason that Kevin Whitley's a head football coach, and I'm not.
Stanfield's hanging out with Kohlmeyer up top.
So, it all makes sense now.
It all makes sense.
I questioned the move because I thought, man, if you don't get it, you really put yourself in a hole next time you score. Like, go with what's safe. But maybe the safer option was thinking down the road, hey, look, we could be at 2 field goal type drives to tie this thing up. And here we go. It's a 3-point ball game now.
Look what the second half has done offensively for Georgia Southern. They've doubled up the points or the yards for Troy offensively. That is Reed Dedman making the tackle. Wilson leads that defense with 9 tackles tonight.
Well, and anytime you're shopping for a head coach, you want to see squads that, hey, look, the first half didn't go your way. Are you making adjustments? You make adjustments through the game, obviously, from one quarter to the next. But halftime's where you really flip the switch. And Coach Whitley and Georgia Southern have done that tonight.
Watson, far side, incomplete. Looking for Brown, the receiver, Demontrez Brown. The sophomore out of Madison, Alabama. That was Seth Robertson on the coverage. It's 3rd down and 11.
Yeah, they have looked really fantastic in the second half. Georgia Southern's turned up the intensity on defense and, of course, on offense as well.
Let's see if
got Troy in a hole here, though.
Watson, will he look for Reggie Todd? Boy, he had so many key 3rd down catches a year ago. 3rd and 11. Watson intended for Barber. Incomplete. And it's going to be a 3 and out for Troy. Anthony Wilson on the coverage. And that's not what Chip Lindsey was looking for.
Boy, that was right there for Barber, too.
Yes.
You got to have that catch, and that puts the situation really, the hole continues to grow for Troy. A 3-point lead here, and not moving the clock either, with the pass attempts. So there's, a world of time here tonight. 12:08 left to go.
Magliozzi, nice punt, fair catch by Hood. Very little punt return yards here tonight with Magliozzi and Beck punting. Georgia Southern with the football. They're going to try to take. Back here in Troy, Georgia Southern with the football, trailing by just 3. 12 minutes even left here in the 4th quarter. Troy, one of 4 teams in the country that have held opponents to less than 190 yards of offense in 2 games this season. Troy, Iowa State, Georgia, and Western Michigan. And for most of the night, they have kept it under 190, but not here in the second half. In the 4th quarter, and that pass just overthrown, intended for Hood, the leading receiver for Georgia Southern.
Something to think about here. Your kicker's good for 42. You know that tonight. Really, on that last field goal attempt where they got within 3, I think he was good for 50 on that one.
Roughing the passer, number 90.
That's not good for the home team either.
15 yards from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
So Troy called with roughing the passer there, and that's going to tack 15 on here to Georgia Southern offense, who's pretty hot right now.
Yeah, right now you don't need, if you're a Troy fan, to see your team giving away too many gifts.
If they can get to the 34-yard line, they can tie this ball game. That's my prediction on this drive.
You've got Wright and King, 2 and number 1 behind Tomlin. Option left. The pitch to Logan Wright. And boy, the Trojans have just tamed Logan Wright here tonight.
Yeah, they've done a nice job, and one of the things that really has paid off, you talk about it, it's so simple, but pursuit drill, man. Where's the ball going? Everybody needs to be running that direction, and Troy's defense has done that.
McDonald with yet another tackle. He's right at 25 now on the year.
Are you having fun yet? This game's turned out to be a really good one.
Absolutely. Tomlin, near side, complete. Wrapped up immediately. Right with the catch. Cholo with the tackle.
So Georgia Southern in a hole here, and I'm curious to see where they go for the play call on this one.
3rd and 14. They have converted some long passes on the year, 34% conversion on 3rd down. That Troy defense is at 30%. Coming into this one, 21 sacks, 9 turnovers for Troy coming in. They could use a turnover or a sack here. They'll get neither. They'll get Tomlin,
Wow.
and he takes it down to the 38. He needed 14. I think he got 13. Pettis with the tackle.
Man, if he needed 14, he got 13 and a half of those. Maybe 13.75.
You like the decimal, don't you?
Yeah,
We've heard it a couple times tonight.
I mean, he was almost there for that first down. What a run. He looked like Malik Willis on that run.
Wow. We saw him a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, NFL caliber quarterback up at Liberty. That was a really fantastic play there. I wondered if they would go to the air, and the answer was no.
And there's a flag, and Tomlin is upset. I think this one's going to be against his offense.
Boy, just a disastrous false start there. There's no other way to put that. You can't have a false start in that spot right there. You're about to get in potential field goal range to tie this thing up.
Illegal snap. Offense.
After such a slow start for Georgia Southern tonight, back in the game within 3.
4th down.
Now it's 4th down and 6, and Coach Whitley will bring in the punting team.
So here's the deal. Down the stretch, either team, if a team can come out and put together a drive that lasts for, I'd say, more than 3.5 minutes, they're going to win the ball game. Either sideline at this point. So if it's Georgia Southern, if they could manufacture a drive 3.5 to 4 minutes in length, we're at 9:31 to go here. Or if Troy can do the same, that team's going to win tonight.
Going to be a delay of game, I believe. That might be what Beck wants.
This may be against Troy. They jump
was
off
it?
sides here.
Well, the play clock was down to 0, but maybe they did jump beforehand.
Defense. Number
No, it is.
26.
Yep.
This concession is signaled. 5-yard penalty. Remain 4th down.
Now you can bring the offense back in.
I'm going to just deal my hand here on that, too. When the flags came out, the coach's box next to us erupted into chaos. And
Okay.
we're sitting next to Troy's coaches. So I said,
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
that one's against the home team.
I'm looking over at the play clock. You did the right thing, partner. You looked over to the right.
I just was observing, you start seeing quick movements, unpleasant smiles.
Here we go, 4th down and 1. One of the biggest plays of the game. And getting the yard and then some. J.D. King, the 5th-year player out of Fitzgerald, Georgia. Carlton Marshall again on a tackle. He's right at his career average now of 8 tackles. And Georgia Southern continues the drive as we approach the 9-minute mark left here. Dare do I say in regulation?
We're knocking on wood here.
Again, it's King. This time, bottled up. Well, he had some good second effort. T.J. Harris made the initial hit out of Leesburg, Georgia.
This offense is just so deceptive in the fact that, obviously, I mean, they give you some misdirection stuff, but like just from a spectator's point of view, you think, geez, man, they are down and out on this drive. What were they, 3rd and 14 a
3rd and
moment
14,
ago?
yes, right.
They run the ball right up the middle. Quarterback draw, 13.9 yards.
Again, the decimal. And again, it's Tomlin. The pass incomplete. Solomon on the coverage. That was Logan Wright, the intended receiver, and there is a flag on that far side. This is a big call coming up.
Yeah, I'm curious. Is this the pass interference based on where it's at?
Holding. Defense. Number 6. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic 1st down.
So Trennis Livingston, our referee. And that changes things. Now it's down close to the red zone.
Where was the hold?
I didn't see it either.
It was on the defense.
He said 6, so it must have been on the other side.
I'm not sure that
That was on Palmer. At least I believe I heard 6.
not really a catchable pass there either. I mean,
Yeah, I don't think it was over. Well, maybe. I don't know. We'll look at it again if we get a chance. Tomlin in trouble and going down. That is a huge sack, and that's Elgin Griffin with his 2nd sack of the season, and that was a biggie.
red meat right there, man. Eat it up. It got in there, forced his way into the backfield, and just got a good, clean sack.
Boy, the Trojans defense needed that.
Man, Publix will hire you. You keep sacking like that.
Talking to Brandon Hall, the defensive coordinator this week. How about a midterm grade? He said C+ at the best. I mean, we're 2-3 as a team. See if they can improve that grade here. Boy, nice job by White going airborne. Carlton Marshall again on the tackle. You know, Brandon did tell us that he would want his son to turn out like Carlton. You know, coaches can come and go. The key is making an impact with people. And Carlton Marshall has made a big impact, not only to his teammates, but to his coaches, including his DC, Brandon Hall.
Yeah, and that's a cool thing to hear said about a young man. Especially if, you know, Marshall's parents, you know, they got to be proud to hear that.
Oh, absolutely.
Family.
Former walk-on turned All-American.
Gonna go to the NFL too. I feel it.
3rd down and long. The give to J.D. King. King got some positive yards down to the, let's see where they're going to mark it. They're going to mark it at the 21. That was McDonald with yet another stop. But definitely in field goal range for Mr. Rayner, Alex Rayner.
I'll just be honest with you. I didn't see this coming based on what we had in the first half to now be kicking a field goal to tie it here in the 4th quarter.
Rayner from 38. He's now 2 for 2 tonight, 4 for 5 on the season. And we are knotted at 24 with 6 minutes and some change left. Kickoff is straight ahead. We've got ourselves a fantastic finish coming up. Georgia Southern, the Eagles have scored 21 unanswered points. Remember, with 10:55 left in the 3rd, Reggie Todd had caught a 26-yard touchdown pass from Gunnar Watson. It was 24-3. And now all of a sudden we are tied at 24.
Yeah, you thought the home team was getting ready to put this in cruise control. Georgia Southern had other plans.
They certainly did. And we might have a kickoff return. No. Boy, very little returns here tonight. Got to give the kickers and punchers credit for that.
Few penalties in this game as well. I told you earlier that I felt like if a team could accomplish a 3.5-minute drive, they would win the ball game.
Yes.
Down the stretch here. 6:08 left to go. So if somebody can do that, I think they're getting out of here with the W.
Tez Johnson had 5 catches early on in this game. He's got 6 right now. He's 10th nationally with catches on 80% of his targets. Let's see if he's going to look for Johnson. This time they go to the tight end. Pick up a 5. Oh, I beg your pardon. That was Luke Whittemore. Whittemore with the catch. That for Luke is his 16th catch of the season.
We haven't said his name a lot
No,
tonight.
I think that's only his 2nd target. Leads the team, 17 yards of reception, but tonight they've done a nice job. And the run to Woods.
Woods on the carry.
Went real heavy personnel there.
Play. It'll be 3rd down and 3 on the 32-yard line.
Wade on the tackle, Randy Wade Jr. Big play coming up, 3rd down, 3 yards to go. Troy needs to get some kind of momentum started on offense.
Yeah, or they're going to lose. If Georgia Southern gets the ball back, the way they've been running the football in this game, Coach Whitley and squad getting set to run this ball down the field and win this thing. And I didn't think we would be saying that, like you mentioned, after, 21 unanswered points. It's been unbelievable, the effort in the second half from Georgia Southern. You got to be really proud of what this team's accomplished tonight.
Well, no question about it. Like you said, 24-3 early in the 3rd quarter. What's been the difference? How has Georgia Southern got not only back in this game, but have tied it now with 5 minutes and some change left?
Well, for starters, they've kind of stalled out Troy's offense here in the second half. That's a big credit to that, the defensive side of the ball. But also, you see a ton of coaches sometimes who will, this is what we do. We do X. And for Georgia Southern, X is run the football. And that has not worked tonight. It has flat not been there. And they have gone to the air quite a bit. And so it's been really fascinating to see them not only face adversity, this football team, but adapt down the stretch and change a lot of things up. They've had some big passes tonight and some design quarterback draws that have really changed the dynamic of the football game.
Watson 1 for 4 here in the 4th quarter for 6 yards. He's going to try to make a pass completion here, but he's not going to be able to get the pass off. Another sack by Georgia Southern. And it's going to be a 3 and out for Troy offensively.
Boy. Going to have to punt the football away. Didn't really do much to move the needle on the field or on the clock.
4th sack of the night for Georgia Southern.
Georgia Southern started their last 2 drives where they've kicked field goals now from about their own 40-yard line. And they're set right up to do that again.
Magliozzi, the snap from Cameron Kay. And yet another fair catch by Hood. 4:17 left. Georgia Southern with the football, and we're tied at 24.
So here we go. This is time to earn your stripes. If you're the home team, you've already blown a 21-point lead in your own house tonight. So that's bad enough. To outright lose the game, I think would be disastrous.
Remember a year ago, Brandon Hall was telling us a 4th quarter miscue was the difference. He thought his defense got a little tired at the end and blinked, and that was the difference. He told us that Troy's defense has to pay attention to the little details. They've got to stop the run and make them play left-handed, if you will. Well, they stopped the run for most of the night, but Georgia Southern has played well left-handed. Although that pass was picked off. T.J. Harris with a huge INT, his 2nd of the year. And now that'll bring some momentum back to the Trojan sideline.
So a couple of things here we've mentioned throughout the night. That may be the play of the game right there. And he just was able to turn around at the right time. And he's watching that receiver's eyeballs right in front of him. And that's one of my favorite things is when these guys are paying close attention to the guy that they're running downfield with. And they see, you can tell that receiver's eyes start shifting. He turns that head. And you know that the ball's coming at you at that point. Turned around, jumped up, got an interception. Huge play.
We were just talking about Brandon Hall. They got to pay attention to the little details. That's a little detail to turn around.
That's a little detail right there with big-time results. And a little bit of life injected back into the stadium here, too.
Yeah, it's become almost a ghost town. Here goes Tez Johnson. There's the flag in the backfield. Johnson picked up 5. Bullet will be coming back.
Probably got a hold.
Offense, 79. 10 yards from the previous spot.
That hold on Troy. Austin Stidham, the 6'5", 291-pound junior, got busted on that one. And now that'll make it a very difficult 1st and 20. Clock says 25, but I think it was a 10-yard penalty. They got to get to the 36, and they've got it at the 44. You're good at arithmetic. Is that 20? I think it is. Watson flips one out to the right side. Vidal, there he goes, breaking some tackles, yard after contact. But that pursuit has been impressive for Georgia Southern.
Yeah, and that's just you're going to have to go downfield eventually. The clock is running here. We're in a real precarious situation in this ball game right now because this 3 minutes and 20 seconds is going to go by really fast. Football speaking, at least. If Troy can convert the first down, they're in field goal range by that point.
Not an easy task. Watson looking for Todd. Oh, in and out of the hands, but there is a flag.
Going to get some help there.
There was some contact by Tyler Bride, the sophomore corner from Atlanta, Georgia. He led the team with 4 pass breakups coming in.
Pass interference, defense, number 4.
And yes, that is against Tyler Bride.
Troy may by default actually get that 3.5-minute drive accomplished here because they punted the ball to Georgia Southern, but Georgia Southern threw it right back to him on the interception very next play. So 3.5-minute drive with an asterisk there.
Yes. That's a big call. That was 2nd and 19 on that particular play.
Yeah, and just you never felt like they were going to convert it either.
Watson's got a man wide open. Caught. Watson with a terrific pass, and it was caught by Orlando Lacey. The junior makes possibly his biggest catch I know of this year.
That is Orlando Lacey's biggest catch of the year for sure, out of Alabama.
Woods takes it inside the 10-yard line. Oh, that is a big-time pass to Lacey. That was for 31 yards. Birdsong on the tackle, sets up 2nd down at the 8. He was wide open. Had to have been a busted coverage.
And Orlando's got wheels, too. He's a fast kid. I covered a lot of his high school games back when he was playing at that level for Opp High School. The Bobcats. Pure athleticism there. And unique to see him go up and get that catch tonight. I mean, he was wide open. No one was around him.
Vidal now shifts to the right of Gunnar Watson. Vidal down to the 6. Give him 2. That tackle by Josue.
I was going to mention clock's moving here, and curious to see what goes down with that. Georgia Southern going to take a timeout. So they've got 1 left. Troy has 3. Depending on what happens here, Georgia Southern has not put together one of those touchdown drives in quite some time. If you could pin Georgia Southern deep, I think Troy could win the ball game. So, for instance, on a kickoff type situation, if around the 25, their drives have stalled out after about 30 yards or so, gotten into field goal range, and managed to hit 2 and tie this thing up here in the last little while. But
since this, I beg your pardon.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say we saw Chip Lindsey there. Since the start of the 2019 season, Troy ranks 14th nationally and 7th in the group of 5 converting on 3rd downs. 46%. This is a big 3rd down here if they can convert.
Yeah, this is a huge 3rd down here. If it punches in the end zone, I think they're going to get out of here with the win tonight. But
the give to Vidal. Stopped. Maybe a half a yard for Vidal. And it looks like they were playing for the field goal all the way, and they lined it up just right. Georgia Southern keeping it on the ground forces Georgia Southern to take its final timeout.
Well, I think that's awful risky playing for the field goal here, though. You'd like to take a shot at a touchdown here to try and at least secure the fact that they would have to go score a touchdown too. I felt like Troy had momentum here to punch that ball in. But they ran the ball right up the middle on that play, and that has not been there most of the night. There was the one long touchdown run where the gap was just wide open in the middle. But other than that, I haven't seen it. I'd be curious to know the logic behind that decision there. But they're going to come out and kick a field goal here and try and take the lead.
It's Brooks Buse. Of course, everything has to work perfectly. You've got the snapper, Cameron Kay. You got the holder, Luke Magliozzi. And then you got the kicker, Brooks Buse.
I would have been a little more aggressive on the outside and tried to punch that one in for 6.
A 23-yard field goal by Brooks Buse. Buse for the lead. He's got it. And Troy regains the lead with 1:46 left.
Cool under pressure there. Nice job on the kick. That's a great drive. And Troy came up with the turnover and able to turn it into points, which has been huge. That's what's kept Georgia Southern in this game tonight, too. Points off of turnovers.
Looking at the last couple of minutes, there's the big interception by T.J. Harris. And then a swing pass to Vidal. This was one of the biggest plays, though. The pass interference on Reggie Todd, and then the pass to Orlando Lacey. And then Buse bangs home a 23-yarder to give Troy the lead with a $1:46 left. Caps off a 40-yard drive. It had 6 plays in it. Lasted just under 2.5 minutes.
Yeah, and that catch, that separation where Lacey was just, out here by himself was really the determining factor of that drive. That may have been the biggest play for Troy in the second half today. Or tonight, I should say.
You saw Chip Lindsey congratulating Buse, gave him a hug, and then also gave him some instruction.
Always be coaching, man.
Here's Thompson deep. Najee Thompson. And he's going to return this one from the 2. Has some room across the 30-yard line.
Boy, that ball was kicked on a laser, wasn't it?
Yeah, no doubt.
Reached up there and got it.
That tackle by Orlando Lacey, who just made that terrific catch. He makes the stop on special teams, and so here we go. 1:38 left in regulation. Georgia Southern down by 3. Tomlin getting some last-second instructions.
And again, they need about the 35-ish yard line. That puts him at about a 50-yard field goal. And I think he was good from 50. He had the leg for 50 on his last kick.
Tomlin in the shotgun. Across the middle, wide open. First down, up to the 46-yard line. That was a nice pitch and catch by Bo Johnson, and Colt makes the tackle.
Great start for the drive here for Georgia Southern. Got a man down right now from that offensive line. That's 61 on the jersey.
So I was trying to figure out if it's 61. That's Liam Ryan, the backup center. Could be 51. Aaron Dowdell, the starting left guard. Yes, it is. It's Dowdell, Aaron Dowdell, the 6th-year player for Georgia Southern. So a first down at the 46-yard line. Georgia Southern, of course, last week got a career-high 214 yards for Logan Wright on the ground. Tonight, they've held him in check, but it's been up top. Tomlin, and there's another pass completion to Bo Johnson.
Flag on the play.
There is a flag on the play. That tackle by Barrett, Devin Barrett, backup corner.
Is that offensive pass interference?
Let's see.
Pass interference. Offense. Number 15. 15 yards from the previous spot. Remain first down.
We'll take another look, but Got some separation there before the catch. Oh, no, okay, it's away from the ball. And it was a hold, basically.
Wow. That pushes things back to the 31.
Yeah, you had Reddy Stewart there who was coming up on the play. And
Tomlin to Bo Johnson again. Dale Pettis on the tackle, and the clock continues to run.
that was a mega costly penalty there, too, for Georgia Southern.
Now under a minute. Georgia Southern has to get to the 44 of Troy for a first down. Tomlin, another completion. Troy letting the completions happen, but they're keeping the Eagles in front of them. That catch by Caleb Hood, the junior out of McDonald, Georgia.
No timeouts, 2-down territory. What happens here?
Tomlin, far side, intercepted. Culp deflected it up in the air, and look who got it. Javon Solomon,
And
who
Troy
has come on.
is going to get out of here with a win tonight after a feverish comeback from Georgia Southern. And boy, that ball was tipped up, and you could just feel it, man. It was
Georgia Southern was holding its breath because they know that tip drill usually ends in an INT, and the Trojan fans were hoping that they would make the catch. Look at that. It got kicked by Culp and Solomon. Boy, I tell you what, Brandon Hall brags on Marshall, but he also brags on Solomon. He doesn't get the pub that Marshall gets, but that doesn't bother him. He said he told him this week after practice how fortunate he is to be around Solomon. He's always where he's supposed to be, never makes excuses, will play whenever. Doesn't matter if his arms hurt, his legs hurt, he's got a sore throat, no excuses. Hall respects him tremendously, and he just came up with the play of the game.
Yeah, he did right there. And who knew that Culp, of all people, all the field goals we've had tonight, Culp gets the kick of the game.
How about that? Yes.
That was fun. That was a fun ball game down the stretch there.
I'll tell you what, that is a huge win for Troy. They'll now go to 3-3 on the year, 1-1 in conference play. Georgia Southern falls to 2-4, 1-2 in conference play. What was the difference tonight?
Well, the difference tonight, really, I mean, halftime adjustments for Georgia Southern, they were able to change things up and make this a great ball game down the stretch. But in the end, it was that Troy defense that pulled through and helped their team get a win.
So Chip Lindsey and company will bring some momentum out to Texas State next week, while Georgia Southern has to go down the road to Mobile to take on South Alabama. And with that, we will put a wrap on tonight's broadcast. So for my analyst, Ben Stanfield, I'm Will Kohlmeyer saying so long from Troy. The final score, once again, Troy wins it 27-24. All the games airing on the ESPN networks are streaming live and archived on the ESPN app.